Welcome to Vampire Squid and Social Distance Warriors presents Grimmfest Short Chats, a show where we are going to be talking to, I believe, 13 short film creators. Yeah, fucking loads. 13 short film creators for the Grimmfest Easter Horror Nights Festival, running April 2nd. We're very excited to have been asked to do this because we cannot even hold a conversation for 15 minutes and run to time. And we are going to be talking to each creator for only 5 minutes. So anyone who watches us regularly, let's see how it goes. I'm excited, though. Grimmfest is one of the best horror festivals in the country, and not just because it's Manchester. And their October one, because October is the internationally recognized spooky season, is banging. It's always a wonderful festival, and we've been reviewing a lot of these films for Vampire Squid and the Grimmfest. Kirstie, how are you?
I'm good. It's been a day, but in much the same way that all of the days are days these days.
All of the days are days. And those days are the days of our lives.
I'm looking forward to talking about some spooky stuff.
I'm looking forward to talking about some spooky stuff as well. Like, there's so many. It's a massive range of everything. So excited. So what we're basically going to be doing is we are going to be bringing each creator in one by one, 5 minutes at a time. We're going to ask them to describe their film in the best way that they possibly can. We are going to pick a question out of our asses from that description. And then if there's still time, which we hope there will be, we'll probably just ask them our usual brand. And then we give them all a big round of applause, boot them out, and we bring in the next creator to start the cycle. That makes sense?
I love how you say, like, if there's still time, like quick fire questions don't always go on for about 10 minutes longer than they should do. And now we're doing a bit that's exclusively quick fire. I'm excited by the challenge. I don't really expect us to stick to the schedule, but I would like to, and I'm really glad we have Sam.
We do have Sam.
Like the Zoom waiting room.
You know what? We've got people here. We've got viewers in. We've pulled this together in 5 days, and on the day of the great internet shortage of 2021, where Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram decided to disappear for it, which is how we exclusively communicate. So we've done well. It's got to be phenomenal, and I'm very, very excited. And that is 4 minutes. What do you want to say for 1 minute before we bring in the first creator?
Not like that, babe.
No. What do you want to say?
What do I want to say?
Speak your truth.
Speak my truth. Throw bricks at Tories.
Yay!
That's it. That's the only message I have for anyone.
Shall we bring on our first guest?
Yeah, let's do that.
Oh, the short film in question is Hector and the director, and this is Dominic Kubish. Hello.
Hello.
Well, welcome. Hi.
Welcome. How are you?
I'm good. And you? All good?
Also good. Yes. You're the first guest. Your face has appeared. Everything's worked. Very happy. It's like the relief through my body. We only have 5 minutes with you. So just straight off the bat, how would you describe Hector to somebody who hasn't seen it before?
Yes, it's a story from the 50s. It's set that in Austria. It's a black and white film noir. When Paula came into the hair salon, she has it's a magic hair salon, and that I would be said to the people.
What made you want to do like a film noir black and white style short?
Pardon? Sorry, I didn't understand.
What made you do kind of a film noir style short with those kind of style choices?
The style choices from us were we are big fans of the Coen brothers, and they did a film from The Man Who Wasn't There, and that was we're big fans of this film, and we wanted to do a film like this and do a film in black and white, and also Alfred Hitchcock and other big directors did films like this, and we are big fans of some stories who have a black story, and the black story has to be.
So what kind of like dark themes does your film go into, and like how did you go about condensing it into such a short space of time?
Yes, I guess we have, our film is 19 minutes, and it took a little time to get the screenplay, and also we found the right location. And when we found this location, it's a real hair salon in Austria. It's in Vienna. And when some of the audience ever been to Vienna, go to the Stumpergasse, visit Thomas Giller, he has this saloon, but he hasn't a jukebox. We built the jukebox inside there. We put it in there. And yes, when we saw this location, we also rewrite the screenplay because of the second floor. Paula has go up, and so the screenplay at first was just made for one floor.
Oh, okay, that's clever. So was that kind of the main thing you didn't anticipate about making it? Did everything else kind of go to plan?
Sorry?
Did everything else sort of go to plan? Was that the only thing that surprised you?
No, that was not the only thing. Also, the actors surprised us with their when we worked with them, and they gave us so much presence at the set. We were very concentrated right there, and very clear. But they gave us so many presents, and yeah, it was a pleasure for us working with them, working with Sandra Hartlauer, and working with Franz Weichenberger, also with the customers.
That's great to hear.
Very cool.
What do you hope people like take away from your film when they watch it? What kind of feelings do you want to leave them with? Yes,
maybe. That's a good question. I've never heard about it. We wanted creating a film to watch. No political discussion, just a film for to watch it and feel it, and no bad feelings, no good feelings. It's just a film to watch, and to surprise you, and like a short film, like every short story who has a plot turning at the end, and that's what we wanted to do like this.
That's cool. How are you finding Grimmfest? How are you finding like having your film part of the festival?
Oh, it's a big pleasure for us. Thank you so much to the jury. It was we were very surprised getting into the Grimmfest, and I can speak for our whole team. We were very impressed, speechless, and it was very. I don't have words for this. We are surprised to get into the festival. We didn't have a team premiere right now, so the festivals we selected and one and now are in the film before our team, because due to the COVID pandemic, and so we didn't want to do an online premiere, and so I hope in May we can go to an old cinema in Vienna and watch the film together.
Yes.
and drink some beer. Yeah, that would be great.
Oh. I mean, I want to go to that. Can we come? I love it.
Of course. I will
we'll bring jackets for everyone.
Okay, Tom.
We won't.
Thom and Kirstie, you're on our list, of course. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, that's why we do this.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
It has been absolutely gorgeous. But that is the 5 minutes that we have with you.
Yeah. Thank you much. Thank you much. Also for this Q&A session. Yeah. I really? Expected to be more serious, and so you
no.
I have a beer here, and okay.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your film. Who have we got on next?
Next we have no worries at all. Please, Dominic Kubish, one more time in the comments. And coming up next, we have got David Maccabee of the film Nova.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
You guys dressed up for the occasion. I feel so underdressed.
These are relatively new show jackets. We're currently wearing them to every stream.
They are not breathable at all.
Well, y'all look lovely, so it's
Thank
great.
you very much.
Thank you.
So do you want to tell us about your film?
Yeah, let me get you turned up a little bit and let me tell you a little about Nova. So we finished Nova. We finished Nova in the grand year of 2020. Being very fitting that it was just a single person in a room. I got the idea after watching an American Werewolf in London one night, and everyone knows that transformation scene in that movie.
Yeah,
it's amazing. I mean, it's the thing that every horror fan falls in love with. But I was like, God, today it'd be so cool to see something like that in a oneer. Like, it's so painful. It looks so horrible. So I kind of just the idea spurred from there, and now we have Nova.
fantastic.
Just
So
imagining it. Like that sounds horrifying in the best way. Like horrifying how I want it to be.
Good.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
Like what challenges were involved in like doing a transformation like that in a oneer?
Every single challenge you could imagine. First and foremost, our amazing director of photography, David C. Smith, built our camera's robotic arm that would spin around Kelly. And when I say built, I mean in his own garage, putting things together, welding last minute. Excuse me. And of course, it didn't work day one. Why would things work when you invent a brand new piece of machinery? So that being our first challenge was getting the robotic arm to spin correctly, because it had to spin at the same speed in the same spot every time. So once we got the gear ready to go, I mean, I really put Kelly through hell as far as rehearsals went. So she nailed it just about on every take. I did probably 3 or 4 takes every spin. And me sitting on the other side of one of those walls with our DP, just yelling out direction, be more sad, more gruesome. I want to hear more gurgling, more vomit, whatever it was. So she's probably better to ask the challenges that I put her through. But as far as like technology went, building our own arm for the swoop around Kelly was a challenge. There's only so many hours in a day, so trying to get that correct was a giant pain in the butt. But our end result, I'm proud to say, was amazing. Kelly did amazing. Smith's work building the camera was obviously spectacular. So every challenge ever, but I couldn't be more stoked.
incredible. So, like, the finished product, okay, did it come out on the screen the way you imagined it when you first conceived of doing this project? And, like, if anything, what really surprised you that changed the most during the process?
Yes, no, it did not turn out the way I had expected. It turned out so much better, because in my simple writing brain, as I'm thinking of a oneer, I'm like, well, let's put the camera on a track or a dolly and we'll just spin around, and then we'll cut every time we're behind her back or behind her head, just simple cuts. And our DP again was like, that's a cute idea, rookie. But I think we can do better. We can go bigger. So watching all the tilts and the pans as we're watching Kelly touch the camera, or as we watch her peel skin or pull a tooth out. For me, as a horror nerd, I felt immersed in it. I felt like I was there watching the finished product. I was like, I feel like I'm in this room. I feel like there's so much story going on beyond these walls and in her brain. So it started as this little seedling of a horror idea, and luckily I've got a rad team, and they let it sprout to what it is now.
Amazing. So good.
I tell you what, I feel immersed in that just from your description. I'm so excited to watch it. But that is the end of our 5 minutes. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. Can everyone
one more time, David Buckaby of Nova. Yay!
Thank you guys for having me. Please go watch Nova.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being a part of it, and we're stoked to be on that side of the pond with you guys.
Definitely. I mean, fantastic. Oh, God, this is flying by. Next up, third guest, we have got Eric Burleson of, right, we keep thinking this is called The Beef, but everything says otherwise, The Beth. Hello, how are you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
we can hear you just fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much for coming on.
Totally.
Do you want to tell us about your film?
Yeah, so my name's Eric Burleson, and I am the director of the short film called The Beth. The Beth follows a young boy named Sammy who is being pursued by a police officer while he struggles to figure out what to do with the baby in his care, as well as how to help his sick mother at home.
Ooh, that's very intriguing. Where did that idea come from?
The idea came from, I had this imagery in my head of a young child taking care of a baby, and I kind of just ran with that idea until this script kind of came together and created the story of The Beth.
Ooh. So how did you go about like making the film? Like, how did it go from concept to finished product?
So it was actually from concept of the script to writing it and casting and doing all the production and shooting it. It was actually only about a month.
Wow.
Yeah. So in that time, I was actually moving across from Pennsylvania to California. And in that time, I said, I want to do one more project before I leave. I have a month left. So I approached my friend Matt Knoll, the cinematographer, and said, hey, got this crazy concept. Let's do it. He was 100% on board. And in that month, we just grinded out as much as we could and completed the film. And a week later, I did a road trip across country.
That's amazing. Like, did it come out the way you'd pictured it in your head, or like did it change based on the constraints of having to do it in such like a short time frame?
Honestly, it didn't change too much from script to completion. There's some things that happen in the movie that I couldn't even have asked for. When working with an infant and a 10-year-old, you kind of get what you can get sometimes, especially with the infant. And the baby was so good. Thankfully, I've worked with the baby and Jacob Shapiro, who played Sammy. I've worked with both of them before. And when I was writing the script, I had them in mind for the characters. And I knew that if I couldn't lock these two kids in, the movie wasn't going to be made. So when I approached the parents of the children, I said that. And I was like, hey, if you're comfortable with this script, like I wrote it for your children to be in this because they're great actors. And I really want to work with them again before I move. They all read the script and the rest is history.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Like, what made you want to make a film, like a horror film centered around children?
Most of my movies revolve around children or older people, but I love putting them in situations you normally wouldn't see children in. If you watch this movie and let's say it was a 17-year-old boy taking care of like a 4-year-old, it wouldn't really hit the same way as watching this 9-year-old struggle to take care of this infant as he's being pursued by the cops and also trying to take care of his sick mom. And it's a story about just how far would you go to take care of your mother.
Aw. I'll tell you what, I think you've quite comfortably like led into what I was going to ask you next, which is like, after people like watch the film, what do you want to leave them with? Like, what do you hope they take away from it?
I'm not sure. I guess watch it and reach out to me and let me know what you think and what you feel. This was just a crazy concept that I was super excited to make, and really just about how far would you go to help a loved one.
I do love that as well. I love that make of it what you will mentality. It's just like, yeah, it'll be fine. It's like, as long as you enjoy it.
Yeah, no, honestly, but I guess to answer the question fully would be how far would you go to help the loved one?
Yeah.
Sounds very provocative.
Yeah, it sounds very, very good.
But we are already at the end of our 5 minutes with you, so thank you so much.
That was great.
Thank you so much for coming on.
No,
if everyone could put all of their love in the chat for Eric from The Beth.
Thank you so much. Absolutely.
Anytime.
Yeah, of course. Next up, speeding through it, we have got from Koreatown Ghost Story, Teddy Tannum. Oh, fucked it. It was only took a bit. Teddy Tannenbaum and Minson Park. Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
Are we?
No, we can hear you. It's all good.
Excellent.
Good.
Hi, how's it going?
How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Would you like to tell us about your film?
Yes. So a little background, there's a cultural belief among Koreans and I'm Korean, by the way, and other Asians about hungry ghosts, that if you die before you're married, that you're likely to come back as a restless, hungry ghost and haunt your family. So there's this tradition of marrying unmarried spirits to each other and doing wedding ceremonies. So to that end, this short film is about a young Korean American girl who accepts an Orthodox marriage proposal to marry a dead family friend in exchange for inheriting a huge fortune.
And we didn't do the romantic comedy version of this, so you can imagine it doesn't turn out that great for anyone.
What would the romantic comedy version of this look like, though? Just out of interest.
That's next.
Yeah,
Maybe
that might be illegal.
So
Maybe not
what about that concept made you want to make a film about it?
Well, it's a personal family story, actually, because I had a cousin who died in an accident falling from a flight of stairs when she was 25, like 2 weeks before her wedding. And my aunt was devastated, and she was sure that she was being haunted, by her daughter. And so she went to see a Buddhist monk, and he told her that she was a hungry ghost and would need to be married off to another ghost. So there's actually spiritual matchmakers who do this. So she did that ceremony, and it just stuck with me as wouldn't it be crazy if this happened to a real woman marrying a dead, bridegroom?
Ooh, that is so interesting. That feels like there's a lot of so many different avenues you could explore with that kind of story. How did you kind of nail down what was going into your film?
Yeah, that was tricky. I mean, it probably started mostly from the themes that we want to pursue and the fact that we wanted to tell Asian American story, an Asian American horror story, which is, not common. We've seen obviously lots of great horror from Asia. They're among the best horror filmmakers in the world, and we're, been inspired by those for a long time. We've also worked with Asian filmmakers on some of their movies as screenwriters when they adapt them, here for American audiences. But no one tells the stories of Asian Americans are not often in any genre. So we wanted to tell the story of how many feel, and not just Asian Americans, but any immigrants often feel trapped between the expectations of white culture, of their home country, of their new country, and the expectations of their own culture and their parents often in their background. So we started with those themes, and the characters rose from there. We have Lyrica Okano from Marvel's Runaways as the lead, and the other lead, this other star of the movie, is Margaret Cho, who plays the
mother-in-law from hell.
Maybe
literally.
antagonist. Yeah.
Well, that's the rom-com version, right?
Yeah. And it also came from wanting. I mean, we only ever thought of Margaret Cho in this role. It was crafted around her, and so once she agreed to do it, a lot of other things.
Oh, that's really. So, what do you hope people take away from the film? After they've watched it, what do you hope they feel, I guess, or what do you hope they're thinking about?
None of them, basically.
Fourth guest, and that is the first time that's been the answer, and that is a good answer.
At the end of the day, that's
it's
what
a horror movie.
Yeah.
How are you
we want to gross
finding?
people out too.
Oh, how are you finding? How are you finding Grimmfest?
This is so we actually gave Grimmfest a work in progress. It was almost done. Maybe some sound, we're still finishing sound and music, but we really wanted to get to the deadline for Grimmfest because we know it's one of the greatest genre festivals in the world. And so it's our world premiere, and we really wanted to make that possible. And we're just so overwhelmed by the quality of the other films, both the shorts and the features, that it makes us even more proud and excited to be part of this program. And I guess this program, the Eastern Nights. I think everybody from here is also going to be in the main program in October. So we're super excited to see that, and hopefully we can make it there. That's our goal.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. When is your short going to be screened at the Easter Nights? Do you know?
I
don't know the exact date.
Yeah, I have no idea.
That's all right.
I guess I should have prepared that.
Yeah, sorry.
In
That's totally
fairness,
fair.
so should we. So, I have a PDF of names, so I'm just like,
Yeah.
no.
Right.
Well, I mean,
We're the only Asian themed short that night, but there are 2 other shorts I think that have Korean filmmakers in them. So we're very excited behind them. So we're very excited to see them.
oh, very cool. I think we have come to the end of the 5 minutes that we have with you, but thank you so much for coming on the show. Everyone in the chat, give their shout outs for the creators of Koreatown Ghost Story. And thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
So much. It's been a delight.
Hope you enjoy the movie. Take care.
Me too. Right. Up next, I try and find a lineup as well. We have got from Minimally Invasive, Adam Harvey. Let's wait. Hello, Adam.
Hello. Adam, how are you doing?
Uh-oh.
Hey, there we go.
Hey, there we
Hey,
go. Hello.
how are you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good to hear. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Would you like to tell us about your film?
Yeah, so my name's Adam Harvey. My film is Minimally Invasive, and it's a short black comedy horror about a man undergoing a surgical operation and it not going according to plan.
What made you want to make a film about that? Because I love the poster behind you. Also, like, I'm intrigued already. If anyone didn't notice that, God, look at it. Go on.
Yeah. So I've got a medical background. I've spent a lot of time in hospitals and mostly on the pointy end of the instrument. And yeah, it's just a way of putting that the fear and the just the feeling you get when you're going under the knife. That was obviously horror is supposed to tap into your biggest fears, and that's a pretty universal one, I think.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
I get that.
So how did you decide to take like that concept and put it like into the medium of film? Because like when I think about that, I definitely feel like my head's gonna blow everything way out of proportion. And that's where my fear would come from. Like how did you pick what was gonna go on the screen?
I've just always loved horror films, and I have to say a lot of the time when you are doing an operation like that, or rather assisting an operation like that, you're standing there for hours on end while someone else does the other work, and you're staring at the screen or you're staring into inside somebody's body, and your mind wanders sometimes if all your job is just to hold things for other people. And often I just thought, I wonder if there might be something in there that we weren't expecting. Or you're looking on the monitor and you think, wouldn't it be cool if I saw something move there that was not expected? It came from that, really.
Ooh, that sounds chilling already.
Yes.
Yeah. What I mean, how do you what do you hope people take away from that kind of feeling? Like, is this a horror film where people are going to go, yeah, no, I hope I never ever have to go to the hospital ever, or is there anything comforting in it at all?
Yeah, probably not. I have to say, one of our crew members wasn't able to watch the final film in the end. He had to leave during our casting crew screening. But yeah, it will hit people differently depending on what their experiences have been, certainly.
That's quite the endorsement, I
Oh,
think.
you put that on the posters. You just
Yeah.
like the crew can't watch it.
Yeah, no, that was gratifying. I mean, it just means that what you're trying to put through is coming across. Yeah, it was quite.
Yeah,
You want people to have a reaction.
How are you finding being at Grimmfest? How are you finding the experience so far?
Oh, good. No, they've been very complimentary to me. I mean, they had a lovely review of our film, which made me feel very special. So that's nice. It's a shame because I'm in New Zealand. I'm not able to watch most of the films at this time because of the geo-locking. But hey, I understand that.
What do you have any plans for what you're going to do with the film after Grimmfest?
We've submitted to a few other films, so film festivals. Sorry. So hopefully that happens. It would be nice to be able to go to festivals if we were selected, but that's looking unlikely. I just want people to see it, enjoy it, and hopefully good word of mouth will mean I can make another one.
Do you know what you might do next? Do you have an idea already?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so intrigued. Is it going to follow on from this one, or?
Well, I made one before this, which was you could just about imagine it was in the same hospital, but not quite. Which was from the doctor side of things. So it's about doctors dealing with patients who weren't what you think they were. So now I've got one from both sides, and my third one is going to be about the general threat to everybody in our problem. So I'm still focusing on hospital-based horror. That's my thing at the moment.
Oh, it sounds very, very exciting. I believe that's the full 5 minutes we've got with you, but please one more time for Minimally Invasive will be playing at Grimmfest on April 5th at 6 p.m. So go and watch it. I've got the times in front of me now. We can do this properly. One more time. Thank you. One more time for Adam. Yay. Oh, we've lost Kirstie. Absolutely fine, mate. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, good.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi just died.
It's all right. It was only a matter of time. Next up, we have got from the film Strip, or as it is spelt, $Trip, Craig Ouellette. Oh, you've got your poster as the background. That's cool.
Ooh.
Oh, that's commitment.
Hey, how are you?
Well, good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Fantastic. I love your purple jackets.
Oh, thank you so much. These are our show jackets. I love your movie poster background. Tell us about your film.
Well, it's called Strip. It's about a stripper on her first day dancing at an underground exclusive dark web style strip club where they have unusual tastes, we shall say. Ooh. And the question, of course, is whether or not she's willing to go all the way or not. And what happens to her if she doesn't? Because I'm sure it's going to be happy because it's a horror movie.
Love a happy horror movie.
Yeah.
What made you want to make a film about that?
Well,
you sound like a disapproving mother, Kirstie.
I'm not disapproving. I'm just really intrigued by the thought process.
Yeah.
Without spoiling it, I'll say I was actually just with a group of friends trying to come up with ideas for a web series years ago, and for some reason, the phrase "What if a stripper did blank," which is what the movie's about, and I'm not going to tell you, came out of my mouth, and I thought, you know what? I think that would be a good movie. And then it took a while before I actually met a makeup artist that could pull off the idea. And once I did and talked to her, it was like, all right, let's do this.
Okay, so I know you're not going to go into detail about the blank, but I really would like to know what the practical effect of. Like, oh, have I frozen again?
It's okay. Yeah, no, but what did the practical effect involve? Because we love a practical effect, yeah.
Well, if there's any hint from this poster behind me, it's a little bit gory. So there's definitely some makeup effects in that regard. Rachel Wagner, who did the effects, was fantastic, super great to work with. She did body casting and molding and layers upon layers of effects and makeup. And we actually had to shoot all of the effects in one day because I didn't have the money to do it more than once. So we basically had to shoot that whole sequence in one day.
And how stressful was that? Like what challenges involved in that short turnaround?
So the whole shoot was planned to be 2 days, and then halfway through the first day, I said, "I'm crazy. It needs to be 3." But the makeup effects section of it was 1 day, so it ended up being a 16-hour day of shooting and 2 hours of wrap because brilliantly we had to wrap out that night. And I told everyone when we started, I said, "It's going to be a long one. It's going to be a long day. I hope you stick with me." And of course, everybody was super troopers and super excited to be a part of it and help out. So I can only thank them from the bottom of my heart because it's amazing to work with them on that.
Fantastic. And how are you enjoying Grimmfest at the moment, just being involved in this wonderful festival?
I'm super excited. This is going to be our first international screening via the internet. But I'm super looking forward to when it's in person because I'm hoping I can make it. I've always wanted to go to the UK. I've only seen London for all of 6 hours, and that hardly counts. So I want to get over there. And I love all the horror movies that they play. I mean, it's so many cool films are playing, and I'm just like, I want to see that. 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 So I'm looking forward to taking part in it. And they've all been super nice and very, very great at communicating. It's always a great thing from a film festival. It's like I always know what's up. I know when it's going to happen. I know what they need, and so it's been fabulous so far.
Phenomenal. This is a quick final question, more for me. You mentioned that this is quite practical effect heavy. What's your favorite practical effect in horror cinema?
I mean, I guess I could speak of overall movies in some ways. I mean, John Carpenter's The Thing. I mean, come on. Cronenberg's The Fly. Both of those things. I love when he spits the stuff out in the fly and burns the guy's hand in half. I think that's fantastic. And then kind of everything from The Thing is great. Like when the head pulls off and crawls across the floor. I mean, these are probably, and actually when the chest opens up and chomps the guy's hands. Spoilers if you haven't seen The Thing from 40 years ago.
Hey, Kirstie's back. Yeah. Oh no.
No.
Yes, I'm back.
And she's back, and she's maybe back.
Am I back? I can't tell.
We can hear you, and that's me. It's all good. That is all the time we've got in this 5-minute interview with the script. But please, one more time for Craig, everybody. It's been a wonderful experience. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, thanks, Tom. Thanks, Kirstie. We'll see you at the fest.
Of course. And Strip is going to be playing on April 2nd at 4 p.m. So go watch.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Next up, the wild ride. We have got Ashley Weasel of the Weasel. Sorry, I feel terrible now. Of the film Weirdo. Hello, Ashley.
Hi, how's it going?
Not too bad. How are you?
Good. Don't worry about the name. Everyone has it.
I still feel bad. It's because there's a typo in our document. We thought this film was called Werido for a bit, and we're so focused on not saying that.
Oh no!
I messed up your name. So can you can you tell us a bit about Weirdo?
It is kind of I'm calling it a dramatic horror because it's not quite horror, it's not quite drama. It's definitely not thriller. About a young boy who is bullied, and we kind of follow him through an afternoon after school when he is confronted by that bully and the following the events that follow, basically.
And what is it about that story that made you want to put it to film?
Honestly, I kind of was really drawn to the idea that of the gray areas of the world, and that no one's truly evil or good, and that darkness can be in everyone, whether it's somebody who is a bully or somebody who is outwardly a victim, or somebody who just turns their head instead of helping, stuff like that. It's really that concept really interests me. So that's kind of how that came about.
Hi, Kirstie.
I've been here the whole time but I don't know if you can hear me, and I don't know if I move.
I can hear you a bit, but you're not moving, unfortunately. Not much. You're still quite choppy.
So I just think I'd be quiet. Crack on.
Just type questions in the Zoom. It'll be. How have you been finding Grimmfest so far? Yes, yeah. Sorry, Ashley.
I actually have been working my face off, so I haven't been able to do much of anything right now.
Do you have any plans for the film post Grimmfest?
We're still submitting to festivals. We're still waiting to hear back from a whole bunch, and hopefully we'll have some kind of online distribution once that's all done. We just started in September, so we're still pushing through that festival circuit.
Ooh, and what's it been like so far? How have you been finding the process?
It's been totally different, but I've been amazed at how the festivals have tackled the whole virtual thing, and we've still been able to do a lot of online networking and connecting, and just meeting other filmmakers is always a hard thing to do outside of the physical realm, but I think it's been really fun, and we've been able to do stuff like this, so it's been a good experience.
And what do you feel? What's like the feeling that you would want viewers to take away after watching the film?
I guess I kind of lean bleak in this one. It's not the most optimistic.
It looks like voguing. Hey, and the sound is back. Hello. Sorry about that. We don't know exactly how much of the outro that did, so we'll just say one more time for Ashley Wessel of Weirdo, which you can, of course, catch at Grimmfest on April 2nd around 4 p.m. So, yay, one more time. Thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me. It's been lovely.
Anytime.
Good luck with the rest of your interviews.
Oh, thank you very much. Oh, it is not. Bye. It is not one of these shows until you get a awful tech thing. But we'll move on. So next up from Dices, we have got Pavlos Servakis. And Kirstie, so lonely. Please work.
Hello.
We've got sound. Hello, mate. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Thank you very much for asking. Just kick straight off. Can you describe Ecdysis? I really hope I'm saying that right. I'm not the best at reading. Can you please describe Ecdysis to anyone who hasn't seen it?
Yes. Okay. So, if I'm being honest with you, I'm not sure if it's Ecdysis or Ecdysis myself.
I feel so much better about myself. Thank you.
It's definitely Ecdysis in Greek. So, Ecdysis is a short horror drama, and it is set in a world ravaged by an environmental disaster and a deadly virus. And it focuses on a woman who is very desperate to try and cure her infected son before he turns into a completely different being, a kind of being that she will not understand anymore. So, yes, it is my first professional short film after, my years as a student. So I'm very excited to participate in Grimmfest and, yep.
What challenges did you find moving from student stuff to your first professional?
Well, first of all, trying to get the funding for a film where it's when you're out of university, you enter the professional world. People have to get paid. Actors, the crew. You're working at a very different standard. So trying to secure the funding there to make a truly, professional film is the main challenge. But I mean, the energy was pretty much the same. And as long as there's great collaboration, it doesn't matter whether it's a student film or professional film. The goal is to have fun, and that was certainly the same.
Did you have fun?
Yes, I have fun. Very stressful fun.
Very stressful fun.
Yeah, the stressful kind of fun, yes.
What was so stressful about it, other than funding?
Well, during pre-production, finding the locations that we needed, because it's this kind of like post-apocalyptic world, and we were searching for such locations in Athens. So it took us a while. I think, even 2 weeks before we started shooting, that's around when we actually found our main locations. Production designer did a fantastic job in such a short amount of time to transform these environments into, what they should look like. And during shooting, definitely it's, the time constraint that you have during your shooting day. You have to go over your entire shot list, and that's always stressful, but also fun.
Stressful
fun, exactly.
And what do you want the viewer to take home with them?
Well, I guess because the film focuses on a very troubling and hopefully emotionally complex relationship between mother and son. It has elements of tenderness and love, but also control. So I guess if the film was able to convey that emotional complexity of that relationship, that would be ideal for the audience to kind of like take away after the film.
That is a brilliant answer. It's like, that's concise, but expanded. I love it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just one final question, because we're already at the end of the 5 minutes. How have you been finding Grimmfest?
Great. Well, I don't know how many films I will be able to watch because of the locations restriction, but so far everything has been great, and the communication, everything has been fantastic. And, hopefully in the years to come, when we will be out of this terrible lockdown situation, I will be able to participate, in the flesh. That would be ideal.
Oh, the first Grimmfest back. Yeah, I can't wait. It's like, I'm doing this from Manchester, and I'm like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's let us do stuff like this, and that's absolutely.
Yeah.
All we've got time for, I'm afraid, it is speed chats. But please, everybody in the comments, everyone everywhere, give it one more time for Pavlos Sivakis. And you can catch Ecdysis on April 2nd, 6 p.m. So one more time, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Next up, we move straight along. We have got Stephen Parker from She Cries at Night. Doing a drum roll. Hello, Stephen.
How's it going, Tom? You all right?
Not too bad. How are you?
All good. All good.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about She Cries at Night?
Yeah. So She Cries at Night is a supernatural horror, which is about a young couple that are grieving over the death of their child, all the while getting haunted in the night by sinister cry.
And what was the inspiration for it?
So the inspiration, Tom, basically I'm from like a small village here in Northern Ireland, and so our kind of mythology, there's a thing called a banshee, which basically is like a Grim Reaper type character. So I've been brought up as a kid with these stories. As soon as you walk out of the village, listen out for the cries. So that was kind of the inspiration for the kind of the banshee part of it. Then other inspirations come from, I'm a big fan of J horror. So like inspiration from like Ringu, Dark Water, that kind of stuff, all kind of melted into like an Irish kind of stew that we, made a film with.
I love the idea of J horror Irish stew.
Exactly. Yes. I mean,
it's a lot of water in it, but
yeah, absolutely.
How did you find the process of making it? Like, what's it been like making? Because it sounds intense.
Yeah, it was. It was pre-production went really, really well. Like probably too well. Because when we got on set, we basically had 2 days, 2 shooting days, to shoot like 14 pages of script, so it was pretty tight. And then your first shot we had planned out to be like a Steadicam shot, which ended up didn't happen because the 2 gimbals that we had broke down. So it's like, so stress just hit us straight away. But everyone chips in, you get it done, and then you're super happy. It's finished, and then you go to the editing room, and then you have another 100 problems with it. That just happens with every film. But you crack on, you get it done. But I'm super proud of it. I'm happy with the way it turned out. And it's just making movies is just fun,
I mean, it's meant to be as well, so that's good.
Exactly.
Pavlos, before you described it as stressful fun, I like that.
Yeah.
You say you're happy with how it turned out. When you first came up with the concept for the film, is how it turned out how you imagined it would turn out, or has it evolved?
No. And actually, it's the way I had planned it. You were actually meant to see the Banshee's face at the end, and there's going to be this big special effects makeup thing and stuff. So, and now looking back on it, I'm glad that doesn't happen, because it's still there's that there kind of unknown aspect to it.
Yeah.
So I mean that basically happened because had problems with the makeup artist and stuff, and just ended up not being making the film, and it ended up, I think, making a bit stronger, to be fair. So
sometimes it's better when stuff like that happens. It's like it's like the jaw in Sharks. Like Spielberg did have his way.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. But so it's the script was pretty true to what you see on screen, apart from that there kind of final scene. So it did mainly go to plan the way I had it in my head. Just wee bits and bobs here and there, but dead on.
And just to say, like, a final question, what is it that you want the viewers to take away with them?
Well, the film's about I guess it's about grief. But what I want the viewers to kind of take away from is I want them to enjoy the kind of drama aspect of the movie and get involved with the characters and kind of getting into the characters' feelings. But also just it's good for them viewers as well that just like to be scared, because it turns halfway through and it is just a smash supernatural kind of horror scare fest at the end. So there's two wee things you can take away from it. So hopefully it pleases the audience.
I'm sure it will. Sure it will.
Thank you.
So one more time for Stephen Parker of She Cries at Night, and which you can catch at Grimmfest between April 3rd and April 4th from 6 p.m. And you definitely should. So one more time for Stephen. Hey! And also, as Stephen leaves, we're going to try and bring back Kirstie. So let's see how this goes. Oh, I see movement. I can hear you. Oh, you're moving!
Oh my God, I can move! Oh, what a relief. I'm so sorry about that, but hopefully my Wi-Fi is finished throwing its wobble.
I will say that every time your Wi-Fi dies, we now celebrate with this. This is...
That's our new thing. Everyone's going to be doing the social distance warriors on the dance floor, and it's my Wi-Fi working?
Oh, do the SD dub. We'll crack straight on. Please welcome to the show Mackenzie Vanderberg of the film From. Oh, drum roll.
Hello. Hello. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing so great. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Very good.
Tell us about your film.
Yeah, so I produced Thrall alongside my co-producer Nana Frimpong and our lovely director Xanthi Pahahelio. And we did that last fall, mid-pandemic, at the USC School of Cinematic Arts. And we weren't allowed to be anywhere near our actors with each other, so we did this 100% virtually. Ironically, I still haven't even met Xanthi in person, so it was quite the feat. I look forward to meeting her one day, but yeah, so we did it over the course of 11 days, and the actresses literally did everything through us kind of coaching them through Zoom. So we had the DP making sure each light was placed perfectly. It was an ordeal, but it was really cool to be able to come out of sort of the dark side of the pandemic with a creature that we were able to create. So
I know that feeling well. So did you have like the idea for the film before the pandemic, or was it sort of shaped by what you knew the restrictions would?
Yeah, so our team actually already came together with a script written by Josh Powell that the school actually awarded us funding for. But that one was almost entirely exterior night shots. So we actually had to scrap that script with the group and cast and crew that we all got together. We actually wrote a new script in about 3 weeks so that we could still shoot on the day we were supposed to shoot. So it was a crazy process. We actually took the original character arcs and the original characters we wanted from the first film and thought, like, what if we just pick up with them already in the house rather than this like kind of long walk home to mother. So we just focused on a mom and daughter story at its heart. And then we wrote it, like I said, in about 2-3 weeks to fit the parameters of what we were looking at. And actually all the dialogue is improvised. So we wrote the story and then the dialogue was let go by the actresses. So on top of all the things they were juggling, they also improvised all the dialogue.
That's incredible. I imagine it gives the film a very, like a really unique, but a really kind of, I don't want to say realistic, but like a sense of being in the moment.
Yeah. Really,
like an immediacy sort of thing.
Yeah, and the cool thing too was in post, we sort of approached it like a documentary style editing, where we took everything we had and we said, okay, this is what we wanted. How can we make it better? So then we took it documentary style editing approach, and we had 2 incredible editors, and we created what we did. And the other cool thing about our piece is we were the first all-female on-set production crew in USC's history in that class.
I was about to ask about this. Just Thrall is triple F rated, which is a rating system I did not know existed until Grimmfest. I am so happy it does.
Well, I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
How do you think that like influenced the final product, like compared to other horror films that are on offer?
I think the on-set dynamic really was special given the fact that it was during a pandemic. I think there was a level of compassion and understanding and the ability to support each other, and sometimes in unspoken ways. And so I think that's what made our production special, is that not only did we just really gel well together, but in a heightened reality situation of reality, we were able to come forward and support each other in a really magical way and give this female story a distinctly female touch that I think comes through it.
That's amazing. What do you hope like people take away from it, like after they've watched it? What do you want to leave people thinking or thinking about?
Yeah, I think that sometimes there's this concept that family is a capital F, and we are entitled to each other's time and love and energy. And I think the takeaway I'd love from this piece is that you're allowed to take a step back and not feel like you're pulled into perhaps toxic family relationships. So I think this really kind of embodied that enmeshed family dynamic that can happen, and sort of a warning at worst case scenario if you get too enmeshed.
That sounds incredible. I'm so excited. How did you get such a big concept into a short film? Like, how did you condense it?
That I still don't know. I'd ask our editor. I'd ask our editors, frankly. They were the one that got it there, I think. But yeah, ironically, we were originally going to shoot it in 3 days, and we quickly realized, oh, this is a bigger project than we thought, and it took 11. So yeah, it was a trial and effort. We were the first film to go virtual at USC. So even the professors were learning with us. We didn't really have like okay, here's how you do it. So the cool thing is now our film and the 2 others that were filmed that semester are sort of mentors to all future USC students who come behind us, who are like, how do we do this? And like, here, this is how.
Amazing. Pioneer of socially distant film.
Yeah, I'm now officially an asterisk in a textbook on USC history one day. But yeah, it was very interesting. But sometimes I think just being able to turn to art when nothing else really makes sense is so crucial. And I think all of us really felt that, where it was like, you couldn't see parents, you couldn't like do anything, you couldn't go outside, but then you could still like huddle in your computer and make this like crazy horror movie. And so that was what was so special, is that I think it got us through some of the darkest points with this dark movie, go figure. So
I actually love that. I think that's
I love that.
I feel that. I feel that very much. Thank you so much for coming on the show to talk to us. We are at the end of our little interview with you. But Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having us, and thank you for supporting indie films.
One more time for Frol, which you can catch on Friday, April 2nd at 4 p.m. with Grimmfest. Moving straight on of our third to last, we're only 10 minutes behind, which, considering tech issues, not bad. Well done, team. Please welcome Sarah Bonaparte of Strayed.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Hello. Yeah, we're good. How are you?
I'm great. I mean, it's already been said, but your jackets, guys, are killing it.
They haven't revealed this yet. They like with our embroidered names.
Oh,
they have our embroidered names.
Yeah, it's very,
they've got skulls on the buttons.
Yeah, very extra.
Yeah.
That's
we had them made specially by a friend. So yeah, tell us about your film. Enough about our jackets. Tell us about your film.
Yeah.
All right. So my movie is Strayed. This is my first movie as a director, and it follows a girl who's like running in the woods, and suddenly all of her abilities start to shut down one by one.
What gave you the idea to like build a film around that concept?
Sorry?
What gave you like that idea? Where did that idea come from?
So I had an illness, a chronic disease a few years back, and I basically not lost all my abilities, but my body just stopped working. I was really tired. I couldn't stand up, blah, blah, blah. I mean, really painful. And as a horror movie fan, I didn't have anything to do. And I was like, okay, why would it be like a horror story with that kind of feeling, like being trapped in your body and not being able to do anything and seeing your abilities one by one just shutting down? It's like the most scariest thing ever. And so I just started to write that story, and I was like, okay, once I'm fully healthy again, let's just shoot it. And that's what happened.
So it was almost kind of a twist of dark fortune that the film is coming out like
A
with
little bit.
this disease going around. Like I feel like it's gonna resonate.
Well, yeah, I mean, I always that was the worst feeling, and I'm like, still something great came out of it, so I'm grateful. But yeah, it was, I mean, I'm really grateful for all the work the crew has done, because I mean, I had it on my mind and on the paper, and it was way better than I even imagined I could do, because it's my first film, you know, I didn't know anything, directing and everything. And all my crew did an amazing job, from the set to the post-production and to the VFX and everything. I mean, I'm like, they're the best, and I'm so grateful for that.
Oh, that's great to hear. Like, what would you say were like the key points in creating that feeling of like claustrophobia in your own skin, like on like the visual medium that's obviously external to the person watching it?
You mean what did I didn't understand the question.
How did you go about like recreating that feeling through film?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I wanted to work with that amazing director of photography that did the film. He's French. His name is Adrien Cacciola. And I live in the US, but I went back to France to shoot it because he's like god of the image. And it was really important for me to play with day and night, and also the sounds that are around the character and everything. And yeah, with the light, the light effects and everything, and the night that comes like super suddenly, that creates that feeling of you being trapped and being like, okay, what's happening?
Love that. And so what do you hope people like take away from it? What do you want to like leave them thinking about?
I hope they're scared.
Of course, yeah.
And I hope you just feel like you're lucky to be, you know, alive and healthy, and not having your life just taken away in a second. Like, this is the worst feeling ever.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like that film's going to come across as very profound at this point in history.
Yeah, and timely. Like, even if it is, as you said, a dark twist of fortune, which is my favorite sentence you've ever said, Kirstie.
I think we are nearly up with our time with you, but thank you so much for coming on the show. It was a pleasure having you.
And absolutely. That was Sarah Bonrepart of Strayed, which you can catch at Grimmfest from, got it up in front of me now, Sunday the 4th of April. Going to be more. Definitely do. One more time for Sarah of Strayed.
Thanks so much, guys. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. Oh, it's our penultimate. We're nearly through it. Please welcome to the show Courtney and Mark Spazzato from Hey, It's Me. Hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Yeah.
Good.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Tell us about your film.
Right. Okay. What do you want to know?
Everything. What? Okay, if you were telling someone, this is what my film is about, this is why you should watch it, you've got like a minute, go. Okay. What are we telling people?
It's a long elevator pitch. I like it. So it's about selfish guy, self-centered guy. That's the opportunity to talk to himself from the future, phone call. So that's to experience time travel, sound waves, revisit some moments in his life, his future self calling him.
Ooh, that sounds very cool. Okay, what gave you the idea for a time traveling telephone? Which I realize is like very reduced way of saying
Yeah,
it.
no, and the answer is not allowed to be Bill and Ted.
No, not Bill and Ted, not Bill and Ted. So, I mean, I can start off. Court can jump in.
Yeah.
So basically, we really wanted to tell a story about an important moment in someone's life that ruined their life. Wanted a wishful scenario, go back and change it. okay, the obvious answer is time travel. Or limited means do a short with a small budget. But instead of like trying to invent an easy time machine, have it be through a prop from our previous short. Really cool, right there between us, that phone. Ornate Victorian rotary phone. We wanted to just elevate it into some kind of crazy auditory. So that's kind of where the whole thing started, and thought of like, what if particles of sound, like sound waves, could be the thing that person travels. Sound waves. That was a way to do something practical with still tell a big story. And just in general, I'm just fascinated. That's my end of it.
Oh, that's up. Oh, yeah.
Favorite time travel.
What of all of the things that you could have done with time travel, like what made you settle on like this narrative?
I think a large part of it is that people always say to themselves, "Man, if I knew now, what I wish I knew then what I know now." So it's kind of like you're older, like give your younger self advice. We were kind of focusing on that, like you become a different person as an adult. So the contrast between the younger guy who's one type of person and the older guy that's a totally different person because of all the experiences that he lived. Thought about like what would it be like if we could go back and give our
to piggyback on that, we were really inspired by Looper, that relationship that's antagonistic between
like they don't like each other
in two time periods. We thought that was a really fascinating thing because if you take a 30-something-year-old and a over 90-year-old, vastly different. So imagine putting them together, and if they don't internally like many things about themselves, imagine that other version of themselves.
That's a great concept.
I get that as well because I'm only 31, but if I met myself at 17, I would probably drop kick him in the face. It was awful.
So following on from that, like what if you could go back and say something to your younger self? Like first off, at what age would you call yourself out? Like which version of you, if you could only do it once, which version of you would be the one you have to speak to the most, and what would you say?
I'll go first because it's easy for me.
Yeah.
I would speak 18-year-old version of myself, say, chill out, dude. Calm down. It's gonna be okay. You don't so crazy, you don't wild.
Do you think you would listen? Like what would you do to convince yourself that this like random older guy, you need to listen to this one?
I would invent a time traveling telephone, shock the 18-year-old me into understanding this is important advice coming from.
Right.
Just you got to make a film about this one day. It makes sense, don't worry.
Yes, exactly.
Courtney, what about you?
To my 8-year-old self and don't be afraid to ride the roller.
I love that.
That's amazing.
That's a good one.
Enjoy it. Don't spend time be a kid.
That's a much better.
I liked both of you very much.
Thank you.
And do you hope like that's something that people are thinking about when they watch your film, or is there like something else you want to take away from?
No, I think it's such a hope that most people I say.
Just standing that through time, you're not the same person from one point to the next.
Yeah.
And just taking that thought and just blowing it up into something, really extreme in this case, really makes you take stock of what's going on in your life and maybe looking at that in a new way. All those things would be really great if people start thinking about that after watching our film.
Yeah. Like I kind of want to ask, like, so without the time traveling telephone, all you can do is like try and apply that advice you'd give to your life now. And like if you had any thoughts about how you would do that, but that feels like a much deeper question than we have time to tear apart.
Yeah.
Oh, but it was a wonderful answer regardless. So everybody's happy. That is unfortunately all we got time for from Courtney and Mark Spazzato of Hey, It's Me, which is playing at Grimmfest from Sunday, April 4th, 6 p.m. So thank you so much for coming on. It's been such a delight talking to you.
Likewise,
so
we're so excited. We can't wait, and we're just honored to be a part of it.
Yes, we are.
Us too, to be honest. That's like, it's brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll speak to you later. One more time, Courtney and Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now it is time for the final guest of the night. We don't have the name. It's not on the PDF, but the film is The Fox, and we're assuming it's Kate Murray.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Hey, not too bad. We just need a quick question. Are you Kate?
Yes, I am. Sorry.
Oh, nailed it. Yes. Your name wasn't on a little PDF, and I was just like, I don't know. I'll get it.
Eventually. Thank you. You guys look wonderful.
Oh, thank you very much. So do you.
Thank you.
Would you like to tell us about your film?
It is about an Australian Korean woman who inherits her childhood home, and it's about grief and guilt and regret, but it's a ghost story. So there's ghosts and there's prosthetics and there's blood and all that fun stuff.
I love ghosts and prosthetics and blood. I'm into it already.
I like grief.
What made you want to explore like the concept of grief even through ghosts? What made you choose ghosts as your medium?
I've always really loved ghost films, ghost stories, the supernatural. I think it's really fun. And so I'm not even sure I was drawn to the grief aspect of it. I think I was more drawn to the vengeful spirit side of it. I think I really liked this idea of people being able to come back and get revenge. So I think I was more drawn to that side of this specific ghost story. And I took a lot of inspiration, obviously, from Korean horror films. And I think that's where that archetype really comes from, Japanese, Korean horror films.
Oh, that's really cool. And how did you kind of take those ideas and kind of make them your own to fit them into your story that you want to tell?
So this film was actually made as part of my master's degree. So I think when you're studying and looking at other national cinemas and other national stories, I think research is really important. I think you've got to read everything, you've got to watch everything. I was really excited to get to work with Ra Chapman, who's the lead actor, who's Korean Australian. So we had a lot of really great conversations about what we wanted to do with the material that we were inspired by. That's kind of the more we researched and the more I spoke about it with my supervisors, the more these kind of ideas just seem to work naturally with the story.
That's really cool. So you mentioned prosthetics and blood. Tell us more, because we are huge effects fans. How do the prosthetics fit in? What do they do? Tell us everything. What was the best thing to make? What was the most satisfying thing to film?
What is the best thing to make? It's a good question, because it's always like this shrub. It's just
Well, I can't take credit for any of it. So I'm sure I'm not the only one where you're writing and you're getting your ideas down and you just forget that there are limitations. You forget that some things, like, how are you going to actually pull it off? So I was writing kind of these more gruesome moments in the screenplay, and I was very lucky in that I got to meet Russell Sharp from Sharp FX, which is a prosthetic company here in Melbourne. And he and his team, Katie and Tanya, they brought all the fake blood, like punnets of fake blood, a fire extinguisher filled with blood. They brought all these kind of fantastic prosthetics that we got to use, and they did it all on set because I wouldn't have a clue what to do, but it was just great to be able to watch from the side and see how it's done.
That's fantastic. So how, like,
I
it
want
sounds
a mate who will just turn up with buckets of blood on request.
Such a fake blood.
Just like my blood jar.
So obviously it sounds like it's going to look incredible from the effects, but like how much does it actually look like how you pictured it looking? And like how much was it altered by those limitations that you had to consider? Or that kind of surprised you?
So there's this one moment with the prosthetic that was, it was such a huge undertaking, and I think it's in the film for about 2 seconds. So I get really excited about these ideas, but in the final film, they're really kind of small snippets, and I'm so grateful in there. The film is obviously, I think, the film that I wrote is completely different from the film that we shot, which is completely different from the film that we edited. And I think that's really wonderful, because I think all this change happens because you're working with other people. I think that's how it's meant to happen. You have to I had a really amazing cast and crew, and everyone just had their own skills and talents and changed things as we went along. So it was really great to see it change throughout the process. So, yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's wonderful.
So now that you have a final product, what do you hope people take away from it?
Whoa. It's so selfish, isn't it? Just a film being like, I don't mind. No.
Just want them to like it.
It's not a feel-good film, but I really like watching horror films and kind of being left feeling a bit tired or cathartic, because horror is so great at making you feel like you're on this roller coaster. So I guess everyone will take something different, especially depending on their own experiences in life. But I hope that people enjoy it as being a not so happy film. Yeah.
How are you finding being at Grimmfest so far?
I am so excited. Obviously Grimmfest is a huge, exciting, wonderful festival, and just being in contact with the people behind it. They're so lovely, and they're so supportive, and seeing how they program the films I found really interesting. I think their schedule just works perfectly. There's this wonderful balance between films that have similar themes or concepts, but then completely different subgenres. Like I think mine's playing along with 2 features and a short, and there's zombies in there, but then there's also other films to do with motherhood, which is kind of where mine taps into. So I just think it's been really exciting to see how they do it and their program.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's phenomenal. I'm so excited to see all the shorts. So we've just got our screeners. It's just going to be a night. I can't wait.
I thought I was going to, but then I just realized because of geo-blocking I might not be able to, so I'll have to try and just track everyone down and try and find another way.
Hunt them down. Show us your film.
Do some casual stalking.
Kevin wants to get involved.
Okay, well, okay. You know what? He's not been on for the entire time. Meet Kevin. Hello.
Oh my god, so special.
She is called Kevin. She's the love of my life. And get off the keyboard, you wanker. So anyway,
I would love to have had a cat in every horror film I've ever made, but I feel like it would be a disaster.
I imagine they're impossible. Every time I see a cat in a horror film and it does what it's meant to do, I don't know how they do it. It's like
I've heard food. I have a friend who's a cat trainer, and she's like, dogs you can train with affection. Cats, it's food or they don't care.
Yeah.
But
that works for me.
Yeah,
same.
Yeah, I'll do anything for a Starny.
But yeah, we've come to the end of our time with you. Thank you so much for coming on our show for a little chat.
Pleasure. You must be exhausted.
It has been
in a good way.
It has been 2 hours that has like flown by, and I'm going to feel the hit of it. Yep. Probably as soon as we get off the call. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Oh, of course. It's been a pleasure having you as well. And obviously, you can catch the Thoughts at Grimmfest on Friday, the 2nd of April at 6 p.m. Ooh. So please
Thank
do it
you.
one more time.
Should I just leave?
Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. So we just leave. It's been a pleasure having you, Kate. Thank you so much for coming on. Bye. We did it!
We did it.
We did it. How over are we? All right, 25 minutes, but still.
But like, that's about how much we usually run over on a show with way fewer people.
Yeah, I'm proud of us.
Way fewer tech issues.
So, and all it leaves now is just speed plugging and just. This has been presented by Social Distance Warriors, which is us, and Vampire Squid, which is the wonderful horror website that we both write for. And it has been an absolute delight to do. The actual videos of this will be on Vampire Squid's YouTube, and all of this is here for us. Please visit Vampire Squid and also visit us. Kirstie, please do a patented speed plug.
Speed plug. Okay, so for those of you who do not know, we have some Thom and Andrew zines that you can buy made of the fan fiction that we got people to write for the Blizzard Comedy birthday anniversary last year. Those are available on the Blizzard Comedy Big Cartel. Go check them out. We also have Jackson stickers available on the No Money in the Bank Big Cartel. We have a Patreon, we have a Discord, we have a Facebook and Twitter where you can find all of these links just on those general social media channels. We are here on Twitch on Sundays. We will be back this Sunday with Kat Molinari talking about Freaky Friday until we run out of things to say, which may be many hours because like it's us and it's Jamie Lee Curtis and it's Freaky Friday. We also have our Thursday show both here on Twitch and on our YouTube channel, also called Social Distance Warriors, where we get 3 guests every week, a comedian, a musician, and a wild card. And we talk about the cool shit they've been up to, and we play some games, and we tell some stories, and we listen to some music. It's always great fun, and if you're not involved, if you're not subscribed, please do be, because we've got so many cool things planned for the next like 4 months. We are so booked up. We are overwhelmed with just amazing people.
Great.
I'm so excited. We are punching so far above our weight. Please come and play with us more often. It's been wonderful with you all.
Also a big thank you to Grimmfest for both trusting and letting us do this. It has been an absolute blast. Grimmfest is one of the best horror festivals in the UK, and the fact that they even trusted us to do this has amazed me, and I've had a great time. I will post in the comments, there's No Money Bank. You can go to their Eventbrite to book tickets to view all the short films and all the amazing feature films that they've got on. Shut up, I'm plugging on for the Easter Horror Nights Festival, and that is between April 2nd and April 5th. And yeah, and you can follow them on all the appropriate mediums. Follow us on all the appropriate mediums. Follow Vampire Squid on all the appropriate mediums. We'd also like to say thank you to our producer, Sam, for actually making this happen in 5 days and making it look absolutely exceptional. So please, we've had a blast. We hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. See you at Grimmfest.